Sweet, throwing on the aviators. You look
right?
You look like Pitbull.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Mr. Regional.
Market on the Rocks, episode 1.
Yeah, so we got to make sure we got a lot of rocks in this. All right, well, maybe not. Maybe that's what this spoon is for.
Yeah, there you go.
So I figured I'd go ahead and put your podcast studio to use. And my business coach, shout out Jason Wright in
Shout out, Jason.
a Smith Group in Orange County, California. He was really pressing me to do this. And I was like, man, everyone's got a podcast. So I figured, whatever. If everyone else has one, so do I.
Are we gonna mix up this pitcher and just go ham here?
Are
you
we're
gonna do
using
the mixer?
my Live Nation mixer.
Fancy.
Supporting one of my least favorite brands here. You know, bought a cocktail for like $900 at a REO Speedwagon concert. And yeah, so then come with the free little cocktail shaker.
It's been a long week.
Yeah,
I
just
want to get this going.
start taking shots. Yeah, so we're doing this on a Friday, not just for show, but for the
No, this is really going down.
Feels.
First time we've ever boozed on the podcast.
exactly. So for those who don't know, Matt's already been running this podcast, and then I just decided to go ahead and steal his thunder and really redecorate the place.
Zhuzh it up.
I did one of those HGTV kind of move that bus.
I like it though. We've got some additional ambiance here and
Yeah.
making it a little more fun. We try to keep it entrepreneurial and real estate related, which, we have fun, but this is fun.
This is real estate. I mean, I've been to
Behind
enough.
the scenes.
I've been to enough Tom Ferry conferences to know that drinking equals deals.
We talked a little bit about it, but how was that?
It was really good.
Would you do it again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was my 5th one. I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're really in it.
$14,000 a year. I'm in it. So.
Big chips.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I mostly do it for the conferences just because they're a lot of fun. We
Look
mix
at
them.
that. We're doing it.
It's gonna be horrible. Let's find out.
I think it's going to be
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
good. How bad can tequila be? Let me give it a little tester and find out. It's fine.
Look at that.
I've had
It's like you were a bartender in another life.
For those who don't know my
Story
back
goes.
history, that's actually how I got into real estate, was through bartending. So,
I have a feeling that a lot of real estate agents would echo that same sentiment.
or they decided once they were done being a cocktail waitress that they were going to get their real estate license
Cheers.
to the first show.
Salud.
Yeah, so I used to work at this catering company in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and
that's
I
good.
usually ad-lib the story and tell a different version, but I'll tell the real version on this show.
All right.
Because the real version is much more boring. So I used to work at this catering company, and we would do all types of events. So I was bartending for like weddings and corporate parties and funerals and all that fun stuff, adult birthday parties, political functions, concerts, all that
Right.
good stuff. Well, I was going to our company's office once to pick up a check, and the office is like the size of this studio. There's one person that works in there. And the owner of our company was sitting at the desk, and I went in to grab my check, and he was sitting next to this guy who's in, a golf polo shirt that said SVN Commercial Real Estate. Shout out, Joey. And
Joey, shout out.
Joey Canella, if you ever watch this.
We'll tag him.
We should, yeah. It'd be nice to hear from him. And so he was sitting in the chair next to Billy Berger, who owns B&B Staff Tenders.
Okay.
And Billy gets on the phone, and of course, now I'm awkwardly standing here in this room just looking at the stranger, and I was like, what do you do? And he said, commercial real estate. And I was like, oh, are we getting a new office, new warehouse? He's like, yeah, there's a new warehouse office up in Choctaw, which is like North Baton Rouge, not an area you want to walk around at night.
Okay.
And so he's probably trying to save some money. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've thought about real estate. At the time, I was a sophomore in college. I was studying marketing. And I said, do you have any marketing internships open? And he's like, well, I don't know. I think he thought initially that I was just a caterer and I wasn't also in school.
Right.
And he said, well, I don't know. Here's my boss's business card. Send him an email. We'll see. So 3 interviews later, then I started as their marketing grunt, mostly making like brochures, doing data entry, stuff like that. Then they started allowing me a little more responsibility. 2 weeks later, I just went ahead and got my real estate license in Louisiana. And then I was participating on some deals in Baton Rouge, which was cool. And then towards the end of that, when I graduated, I had moved to Seattle to work.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, we had this whole conversation. To work for a real estate startup because it was going to be paid on salary. And I said, commission lifestyle, not for me.
Yeah, now you don't want to be non-commission.
This year I might think differently about that. Maybe in the past 3 months I might feel differently about that.
So market on the rocks, right? Real estate, little more like I unbuttoned an extra button for this shirt.
Am I supposed to show my chest hair on this?
I don't know. I mean, it's your baby. So tell me if there's anything that I'm missing. I kind of just envisioned it being real estate talk, but a little more relaxed.
If you say the word interest rate, you unbutton a button.
Yeah. Oh boy, careful, because that's a hot topic. But before we got on, we talked about one of the topics that I couldn't believe you didn't know about, which is the merger, if you will, of Realty Austin and Compass. So that was a big thing that was announced on Wednesday, so just 2 days ago.
Yeah, I thought that was super surprising because this is the number one by volume and by probably head count brokerage in Austin, selling out to some shams.
Careful, you never know.
Robert Refkin, I'm coming
Next
for you.
thing you know, all city's going to be Compass, and you're going to feel real
Dude, I'd
goofy.
be all about it. I would drink that Kool-Aid from a fire hose.
That's what's so funny is like I feel like Compass, they get this like. They get teased a little bit because, I mean, from what I understand, again, it's almost like they'll hire anybody. And, I think that a lot of agencies are like, oh, well, at least we're not Compass. And then all of a sudden, now you are Compass. And I'm sure there's people at Realty Austin that are kind of going, shit, maybe I shouldn't have been so vocal.
I'm just glad we're not EXP.
There you go. I just posted this reel, and I'm sure you've seen it, where it's like a broker's open, and each individual agent has one's EXP, the other one's Caldwell Banker. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. It's on my Instagram right now. But really just the way that they kind of are teasing about the cultures of different brokerages, and it's good, man. You got to see it.
I feel like I might have seen this. Was it by any chance Derek from Southwest Florida that posted this?
Ooh, I don't know. I honestly don't know who posted it, but it was like Caldwell Banker was like...
Shout out if it was Derek.
Right? Caldwell Banker was like the older agents, and then Century 21's like, I'm on a landline right now. I can't see, fax over your offer. It was
the
good.
Remax agent showing up on her hot air balloon.
And then Real and EXP do a double fist bump, and they're like, we have them on the cloud. It's good, man. It's good. But just the culture that goes along with these brokerages, I always find a little bit interesting because, I think culture is important, but if you're a good agent, I mean, you are your brand. I mean, are people doing business with you because you're with All City, or are people literally thinking, oh, well, I really, really liked that agent, but man, they work with EXP, and I don't know about them. I mean, what's your take on that?
I've never thought that the brand name matters after you've done 2 deals. But I will say I was on a listing appointment for a $3 million listing.
Attaboy.
Yeah, they're listing in January. We have it signed.
Okay.
Shout out Russell and Tina. And they did ask me. They said, well, you're a one-man company, because I brand everything as Chasing Realty.
There it is.
I don't brand, with All City. So they said, well, you're a one-man company. What makes your marketing better than a company like Sotheby's or Engel & Volkers? And I pretty much just said, where's the nearest Engel & Volker sign? They said right up the way on the street, one block away. I said, how long has it been there? 180 days?
Right.
I said, I don't think anything makes them special.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it comes down to the agents. So it's quite possible if you're at a company like Compass or even Realty Austin, we'll put it there, where they have a cap of you have to at least have sold $3 million in volume the year before to be an agent.
Oh, I dig that as a lender, man.
So
I
I think that's cool. That these people have at least sold, 6 houses in the last year, which isn't much, or did one great house.
Right. But they're not just parking their license somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, I just had a deal cancel with an agent that I'm sure does one deal a year, and you can kind of tell. But
Yeah.
but I think the people you surround yourself with is really important because you're going to learn a lot from those people. So if you're at an office where it's all winners, I think naturally you have to rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the one thing that would make me want to join a company like Real. I'm not sure how familiar you are with their agents, but every time I go to one of these Tom Ferry conferences, all of the Real agents are all hanging out together. They're all shooting videos together. All of them are pretty big on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it would encourage me to do a lot of that same stuff,
Okay.
which is cool. I'm not moving tomorrow, so no reason to recruit me. Also, Jeremy Knight is already going to be my upline or whatever you call it.
Downline.
Downline.
Yeah.
Downline would be when, whatever.
Well, he will be. Yeah, he'll be. Yeah, you'll be in his downline.
Yeah, so he's already bought me lunch twice. So
Okay. Well, then you owe him.
Yeah, now I have to move brokerages.
There it is.
It's like your insurance guy. I have one, $5.50 Americano with them.
Right.
And
Now you owe him.
Now
Chase
I have
Long,
to send
you
him
said.
every property and casualty insurance.
Yeah, you owe him every deal. So I have something that I don't know if you've seen. I know you keep an eye on the podcast, but I don't know if you saw the because I'm trying to make it more fun here. I don't know if you saw the video that we did with Ina Kyle about unsolicited dick pics.
Oh, no.
You didn't see that?
I
So
like where we're going with
yeah,
this.
unsolicited dick pics. Well, you said you wanted to make it a little raunchy, so this is real estate related and involves me saying dick a lot. So
Fantastic.
yeah, right. So Ina was basically having a conversation about how apparently, and I didn't know this until maybe a couple months ago, but as a female real estate agent with your phone number everywhere, with your listings and all of that, she surprisingly gets a lot of unsolicited dick pics, where guys will literally just out of nowhere, she'll open up her phone, she'll have a text message, and there's a big old hog.
Nice.
And she's like, what the fuck? And then she says, usually the play is like, there's a dick pic, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oops, like, didn't mean to send that, and tries to strike up a conversation like that. And so she wanted to come on and ultimately talk a little bit about this, because as she kind of vocalizes about this, she finds other female real estate agents that are willing to open up and be like, you know what, that's happened to me too. But they feel somewhat almost like ashamed of it. It's like, you didn't send the dick pic, so I don't know why you're like ashamed of it. But the reason I wanted to bring it up, because we've already kind of covered dick pics when it comes to females, but I wanted, now that we've got a guy on here, have you ever received any unsolicited dick pics?
Yeah, so not dick pics, but this is actually a new thing. So there's a marketing company that I've been working with, I guess, for lack of a better word. Basically, they put my Instagram into this bot, and this bot auto-likes thousands of people's Instagram stories.
Okay.
And so, naturally, everyone's egotistical, and they want to see who's liked my Instagram story. And I've
Guilty.
been receiving a lot of messages from some very unattractive men who are sliding into my DMs, and they're like, thanks for liking my pic. How's it going, hottie? And then, of course, then I'm going to go back to their profile, and I'm like, what pic? And it's always like it's like the shirtless mirror pic. I'm like, God damn it. And this is from my business profile. So now I'm getting all these unsolicited messages. And if you're one of the guys, I hope you buy a house one day.
Yeah, right? At least buy a house.
Yeah, we'll have a drink if you buy a house.
Careful what you wish for.
But I have, on another note of unsolicited or kind of solicited pussy pics.
Oh, no kidding.
Here we
Let's
go.
Dropped a P word.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm talking about cats.
Ah.
I have a radio ad on 101X, and the afternoon radio DJ, CJ Morgan, shout out. You don't need shout outs. You got way more followers than I do. He'll like mention me on his afternoon show as a requirement for me to pay him each month.
Right.
And he'll say, send my realtor a picture of it's usually a cat. Sometimes he'll ask for a picture of some other random things. He'll say, send him a picture of your cat. He's a big cat guy. And so then I'll receive these random pictures of cats. And so most people think, well, they just shot a text to this random number. There's no chance they're going to get a response. Of course, I take that text, I grab that number, I put it in Forewarn. Have you ever used this app? All right, this app is the best. You put in a phone number, it'll tell you the person's name, their age, their address, the vehicle they drive, their previous addresses, and their criminal history, all for free.
That's
you
terrifying.
Do have to prove you're a realtor to get on this app. The best part is it also works the other way.
Okay, you know what? I have heard of this for real estate agents.
It
Yeah,
also
for like
works,
safety.
works the other way where you put in someone's first and last name, and then it reverse gives you all that info. So if you ever want to like a celebrity phone number or something, you can get it on this app.
Okay.
But yeah, so then I'll put their name into it, and I'll see, oh, looks like they've lived in their house in Hutto for the last 22 years. So I'll say, oh, cute cat. Nice to meet you, Robert. How's that house in Hutto?
Right. How's it work?
And then they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's terrifying, but
So usually
effective.
They're like,
Or is it effective?
How did you find this information? And I was like, I have my ways.
yeah. Yeah, I'm stalking you. I'm outside,
And
right? I'm outside with the listing agreement.
I'm going to change my slogan from the realtor that rocks to the realtor that stalks.
There you go. Love it. I love it. I've got this like soundboard over here that has like clapping and like the ba-doom-tsh, and I feel like we really should be putting it into effect right now.
Okay, speaking of audience clapping, so I had this idea for a new video. So I'm big on watching TikTok. I only have like 5 followers myself.
Right.
But if I might have like 100. I don't know. Whatever. It's negligible amounts. I can still get 0 likes on my videos. But
We're going to change that. We'll change that.
yeah, one of my favorite comedians, Matt Rife. Everyone's seen his chiseled chin before.
He's from Ohio.
Oh, from Ohio.
That's
Yeah.
Cleveland. Shout out to my hometown.
I met him at his taping. When
He's not from Cleveland, though. He's from outside of Columbus, but still Ohio nonetheless.
Okay. I met him at his taping of his special in Austin. Anyway, aside from that, I saw the other day.
Was he cool?
Oh, he was great. Yeah, he's awesome.
I saw his podcast.
I'm trying to sell him a house here because
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean I don't know him personally, but
I guess he suffers
keep
from like
sliding
severe
into his-
insomnia.
keep sliding into his DMs to try to sell him a house here because I know he wants to move to Austin.
Okay.
Every other comedian did.
Thanks to Joe Rogan, right?
So anyway, the other day I saw in Forbes that he's worth $25 million.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, all the man did was post some TikToks of his comedy shows.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to work out as much as he does. But I was
Because he
like,
doesn't sleep.
I know. I mean, yeah. But that being said, his videos get a lot of likes because people are like, oh, little segment of, a comedy show.
Yeah.
So I thought, why has no realtor done this where they do stand-up that's loosely related to real estate and turn that into real content as well?
I guarantee it's a thing.
It probably is. I mean, a lot of realtors will do like, funny videos. But
Right.
I've never seen one that did stand-up. So I'm planning on going and shooting a
The
special.
stand-up realtor.
A stand-up special.
You're going to need
at
an
a bar.
audience. You're going to invite me, right?
So either I'm going to get a real audience or I'm going to get a fake audience. I think I'll tell people when it is, and if they want to come, they can.
I'm going to be there.
Oh, hell yeah. Great.
I'm going to bring a crew.
It'll just be me and Jared. And then, by the way, everyone, my roommate / videographer just walked in. We'll get him on in a few minutes.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll just be shooting, and then you'll just be sitting there in the audience. We'll get you a margarita.
Yeah.
Speaking of, someone needs a refill while we're at it.
Yeah, let's top me off, man. Like I said, long week.
Not like the boys on Instagram are trying to do.
Right.
That's going to be clipped. Or maybe
No,
not.
none of this
honestly,
is getting
I
clipped.
want to get canceled. If I don't get canceled once in my life, did I really try to push the boundaries?
There's something to be said for that. But now, you know what? At the same time, it's getting pretty easy to get canceled, I feel like. So it's almost like not even.
I agree. So now I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was talking to a friend of mine she used to be a realtor. Now she's an Amazon software developer type of thing, but she's also a comedian. And I said, should I be doing the jokes that could be seen as offensive or, potentially crossing the line of we've talked about one certain culture a little too much because they just do funny things.
You're talking about the Polish.
Talking about the Chinese. But anyhow, yeah, definitely the Canadians.
Right.
But, I mean, I also think people will cancel me for whatever they want anyway.
They'll figure out a reason. They're always trying. But then again, that's when you got the haters. That's when you know you're doing something right.
Well, and there was also, I watched the podcast you did with Andrew
Dubé.
Andrew Dubé.
But that's his last name and the fancy way to say it. I like to call him Andrew Doobie.
Yeah. And I liked what he said about, anyone who doesn't like my content is not a client I want to work with anyway.
I agree.
But We'll see. I don't want a whole group of like racist assholes to work with either.
Next thing you know, yeah, you're like the KKK's largest or real estate referral partner, whatever.
Imagine if I was wearing that mask for my closing picture.
Be very awkward, very awkward, right?
I went to my mom and I took a trip to Spain last year, and when we were in Sevilla, they were doing the what's it called, the Santos, whatever. Oh, hold on. Well, let's see, my Catholic upbringing. Let's see if I can figure out what religious event I accidentally went to.
Wasn't the running of the bulls.
It was the running of the KKK.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what it was. Let's see, was this on... This was on... Well, let's see, it was around Easter, so it had to be like Palm Sunday or something like that.
Sounds
Whatever.
right.
I'm going to remember what it is in a few minutes.
Something
as soon as we
involving
step up.
Jesus.
Whatever. It's in Sevilla, Spain. You got a bunch of people in KKK
Oh my
looking
goodness.
outfits, like walking down the streets. A religious ceremony. They're all holding candles. I'm going to get canceled when people figure out what this is. Something Santos, something of the saints.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you're a priest, slide in my DM and remind me what this was called, because it was not the running of the bulls.
Got it.
Anyway, I have no idea why I brought that up. I think it's just because when I was posting pictures of that, everyone's like, "Are you at a KKK
Yeah, what are you-
conference?"
No, it was a Jesus Cristo
Yeah.
conference.
Exactly, and I got just as much hate for that. How dare you believe in God?
Well, let's bring in the roommate, man. You know, we got an extra mic sitting
Yeah.
here. It's been a long day.
Yeah,
Take a
so-
seat, put some headphones on, say what's up.
So, this is my roommate Jared, who just decided to move into my house.
We got to get him a cocktail,
Yes, oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
you guys drank it all before you get
you
here.
know?
He followed the theme tremendously well. We like that.
Yeah.
Hashtag aloha.
I know.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah,
First
so
time I wore the hat, I'm not gonna lie.
Scoot in, man. Get closer to the mic.
Yeah,
his
little-
big real estate move was
comfy.
renting the master bed and bathroom of my house for $1,300 a month.
There you go.
So
Deal of the century.
It really is.
deal of century for actually both of us, because now my monthly payments are only $2,000 a month, so that's chill.
Nice.
Um,
Is this the new spot?
this is, I
New
moved.
spot.
Let's see, last summer. It's my first primary residence I've had.
That
You're
is a
an
lot of
awesome-
tequila.
Yeah, you
Well,
really
it's
love
more
it.
than one
Yeah,
drink.
man.
Hoping each of us are having one here.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a place to put it.
Is that good? Do I got the mic good?
Yeah, Ina's gonna take a shot for each new dick pic she gets.
I'm telling you, man. Gosh, I'm just gonna go for it. You know, one time I actually picked up the phone, and on WhatsApp, it was like a random number, and she's like, "Oh my God, I get all these random numbers through WhatsApp," and I'm like, "What is going on here?" She's like, "It's crazy. It'll be like some dude across the world, and he'll like it'll be a dick pic." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Probably one of the
That's
guys
insane.
from
On
our
my life,
BNI
I
meetings.
pick it up, and it's a dude who's very, very dark skinned. I'm gonna just say probably Middle Eastern, Pakistani, and he's got the camera right on.
Hung
His,
as a horse.
he's got the camera right on his cock. It's a video, and he's jerking off,
Holy
and he's going, "Show me your pussy, show me your pussy."
my
I
God.
swear to God, this is a true story. And so he like real quick flashes to the, like flashes up to look at and see like if anybody's responding, and
Yeah.
he sees me, and he's like, and the first thing that just organically came out of my mouth, because it was true, I wasn't just trying to mess with him. I was like,
Come on, well.
dude,
Give it a little.
that
taste.
thing is kind of small.
Oh my god.
And it was, I mean, I'm not that I'm like working with some, giant hog over here,
No size queen. Over
but
here.
it wasn't. It was a lot bigger than that. And I was like, dude, you should not be showing that thing on film like this to random people that you don't know.
yeah.
And he's like, well, where's the girl? Where's the girl? It's like, you could tell he like doesn't speak English. And finally, I was like, I don't know, bro, we gotta go. And he just like jumped off. But like, in addition to her telling me the story, I saw it firsthand. And it's wild, man.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
men out
God.
there are aggressive. Like
Just-
it's just crazy. And the thing I always think about when I hear stories about people that do this stuff, and it's I mainly hear the stories from women, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, this guy said this or this guy did that, and they're so appalled by it. And don't get me wrong, the stories are appalling, but what always amazes me is that I think it has to have worked at least one time.
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because like I
You're
used to
gonna
have,
catch one.
yeah, I used to have a buddy, and I won't say his name, but people listening, you will know who I'm talking about. There was this guy that I used to hang out with a lot, and we would go to bars, and he would get pretty hammered from time to time. And toward the end of the night, we would be sitting at the bar, and he'd be kind of head nodding, you know, looking a little too drunk to be at a bar.
He's
A
at
good,
the end.
good-looking guy, for the record. So this is obviously part of the end of the story here. But we would, you know, be talking to girls and everything like that, and he would kind of head nod. And right at the end of the night, he would look over at some of the like best-looking women, you know, and just look right at him like with one eye open, and he'd go, "You want to fuck?" And I would say 30% of these women would be like, "You don't have to like talk to me like that," blah, 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 and would go home with him.
Wow.
It would work. Now, don't get me wrong. 2/3 of the time, it was like, you know, sometimes we had to like keep these girls from slapping them, or they would be like, "Your friend is a fucking pig," or whatever. And I'm not condoning this, and I hope that no one looks at this and goes, "Man, those are some pretty good odds. Maybe I should just be asking." Because like it's very awkward.
Jared
2/3
has a
of the
friend
time.
that's gonna
right,
be all
right.
about
Like
this.
right now,
Yeah.
someone's taking notes. Like, "Do you want to fuck?" But it worked. And so when I hear like women complaining about men doing this creepy shit, I'm telling you, it's worked at least
guilty, too.
once. Well, I mean, it's worked at least once. Otherwise, you would think like you would only do it one time, and then you'd be like, "All right, that was embarrassing. I'm not going to do that again." I doubt there's a guy out there sending unsolicited dick pics on the reg, striking out every single time, and still just keeps pushing in hopes that he's going to get some sort of reciprocation on that.
Just pushing. He's also pulling.
right. Exactly. Pun intended.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I'm
All right,
solic-
speaking of videos, let's move on to Jared.
Let's get into it.
yeah, Jared, tell us about what you do, man.
All right, so I'm a photographer.
Sends
all right?
unsolicited dick videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I take the dick pics for the
Uses
guys.
wide
Makes it
angles.
look bigger, wide angle.
Yeah. Yeah, they talk me through it. I want a little bit of this, a little curve at the end, something like that.
There you go.
Make it look wet.
Video
Yeah.
editing too, then, yeah.
But
Go on, man.
yeah, I you know, recently, I've been working with Chase and doing real estate photography. But I do a couple different forms of photography. So I do car photography, I do event photography, just kind of touching everything right now. if
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
What
So.
got you into it?
Don't touch too much.
I think for the longest time, I've always been big into movies. So,
Okay.
But that making videos kind of intimidated me. So I was like, why don't I just cut it down a couple frames
Mm-hmm.
and just do one at a time?
Yeah.
And so I had a camera for the longest time, and it was more a hobby. And then I made a move here from Illinois. So
Midwest.
yeah, Midwest for sure. It's great. Not well, the winter.
Yeah,
That's why I
right.
got away
Mid
from
to
it. but-
best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What part of Illinois?
pretty close to Chicago. It'd be the west.
Right
be
on.
the west, yeah. So
Okay.
we're just like right on the Iowa border.
Sox or Cubs?
I go Cubs
Ooh, okay.
if I watch baseball.
This
I'm not
man
gonna be
picked
honest.
corn as a job in high school.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
You
Cubs,
tasseling?
Cubs, Indians, great World Series. They got us in 7.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
Like I said, not a huge baseball fan, but
so west side of Chicago, moved down here or moved to Austin,
moved to Austin.
doing the car stuff, and now we've got you doing
Real estate.
real estate photos, man.
Yeah.
So
it's
shout
great.
out to any real estate agents that need somebody to
Yeah. Yeah.
hop in quickly and do photos.
Got it.
Yeah. I
I'll
mean,
provide.
is this the full-time gig or is this kind of still a side hustle?
It's still a little side hustle.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. The car photography, I work for a company that works with a lot of dealerships around the Austin area. So I work with those dealerships. So
Main reason I ask is because, I mean, you probably will attest to this. I know agents at times, they need photos like super duper fast. So I'm, wondering if you can become the guy,
Yeah, everything
love to
except for
be,
their
yeah.
headshots.
yeah.
right?
Update those once every 40 years.
Isn't that one of those cliches that's just so cliche? I almost feel like real estate agents are like, well, it's just the biggest joke. It's almost like they do it on purpose now.
I haven't updated mine since 2020.
No?
Yeah, we were talking
I've
about it
gained like
yesterday.
35 pounds.
I update mine every other year, man, just
There you
because
go.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I think it's good.
You know,
You lose
the
more
fresh
hair
face.
each time.
I don't want to get busted. No, I went bald when I was 19, man. I haven't had to change
Jeez.
that
Oh,
part, you
man.
know, but I got a few more wrinkles. I look a little older. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I can
Bald
take
at
those out,
19.
man. Let me
Can
know.
you imagine? Bald at 19. God. I remember
You
that.
never tried the toupee thing?
So I got a story, but I don't want to ruin it because we got a joke. Let's just say that there will be me in a toupee in the near future.
Fantastic.
We're gonna drop some decent amount of money too, so it doesn't look too fake. In fact, I'm going I want to go very close to what you're rocking naturally right now.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pay,
We'll see.
plugs. Don't they do plugs too? That's
See, I was
Well, that's a lot
down
more
there.
money.
Yeah.
you know, this is our Jimmy Buffett tribute episode, but I was thinking, you know, maybe January for Elvis. You know, you could just put on an Elvis wig.
There you go. I mean, I always think about the whole. You know, it's. I actually have a buddy of mine that I used to work with that. He's got like the full blown professional hairpiece, and the only reason I know it is because, you know, he definitely didn't have that much hair before.
Yeah.
And he moved, and like I've seen his TikToks and stuff, and I think it's interesting, you know, because in this day and age, like you've got women that have like blown up lips, right? And it's like blatantly fucking obvious, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and the eyelashes is another one. You know, the Botox I think is a little more like, you know, are they doing it? Are they not? And then boob jobs, right? And it's one of those things where I always think about it as a bald guy because I don't know if it's just my circle of friends or if it's society in general. But if I just like showed up on this podcast with a full head of hair, nobody would just sit there and keep quiet. They would literally be like, dude, what's up? Right? But if a woman walks in with like blown up lips or fake eyelashes or, you know, way bigger tits than she had like the day before, we all just shut the fuck up. And we, you know, like
Because we're afraid of the consequences.
right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
No one's afraid that you're going to hit them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So is that like a male female thing, or is it like as a society we just don't say that? Because like I know for sure I'm getting called out by every single person that has met me the day before I got my professional hair done and being like, bro, what are you doing?
I would say it's like
women are allowed to criticize each other. Men are allowed to criticize each other. Women are allowed to criticize men.
Okay.
A man can't criticize a woman.
I see. All right. Good to know. I mean, I definitely don't do that, but maybe it's because it's innate, you know, just
Yeah.
innately I know better.
yeah.
But I always think about that, you know, it's like, man, like no one would let me live that down.
No.
No chance.
I would be all about it. But I would hope you'd go with like a fun color.
Right?
You could look like a troll doll or something.
Well,
Papa Smurf.
fun fact, I am fairly fair-haired. So,
Oh.
yeah, I you know, even
It
when
was fair to lose it at 18.
yeah.
That wasn't fair.
Yeah, no, it was not. But yeah, I've got pretty light hair. And it's, you know, like when my beard grows out and even in the sun and stuff, it gets like, I wouldn't call it blonde, but it's really, really light. So,
Yeah, it's got
fun
bleach.
fact.
I kind of pictured you as a ginger.
No,
Oh,
no ginger, but thank God.
dirty blonde.
Right?
Yeah.
Those gingers terrify me.
They're the worst.
Just like with the age thing, though, you don't ask a woman how old she is. Like, you have no problem asking a man, you know, where you at?
True.
And so I just think it's, they also take a lot more time on their looks and, you know, in the bathroom prepping and different things like that.
But
So it's just
for
like-
other women, right?
Let's see, as
Yeah.
long as I use my forewarn app, I can find out how old she is
There you
immediately.
go.
Well, I just always think about some of the things that I see women do, and it's like, I know as a man, and I've talked to other guys, like no guy is, you know, like, oh wow, like those, like she wasn't that hot before, but now that she's got those big plump lips, like I'm totally in. Like totally wasn't gonna fuck her before, but now, like sold, right? And it's just so interesting that like women do a ton of things for their looks for other women, right? I mean, like you would think it's to like attract men. Of course, just keeping so I don't get canceled. This is women that are attracted to men, right? And then it's like, why are you doing all of this? And it's like, oh, well, it makes me feel good. And it's like, I think it's because you want to look good in front of other women,
Yeah.
right?
Or they
Or
no,
the
that's
digital
that's
age.
that's when they cut their hair and
Oh,
put on
yeah.
cargos.
You have the
Yeah.
digital age now too. I mean, you just put a filter on and you see
Mhm.
yourself with this kind of look or that kind of look. So it's like,
Yes, the dog
well,
knows.
I look good here, so I might as well go get that done or something like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
Yeah,
this is going to get us
it's-
canceled.
it's
You're
like
right. I'm
getting
like
the-
thinking about this now. I'm like, I'm fucked.
The rendering of the house remodel before you actually, pay the contractor. It's like the plastic surgeon's like, here's a rendering of what your lips will look like. And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to be leaving some marks on some coffee cups now.
I'm just, and now I'm being serious. I just worry sometimes about like, what are the repercussions of some of these women that are doing some of this stuff really, really early on? Because, we all know the older 45, 50-year-old woman who's getting her lips done. She's getting a boob job. She's going with the Botox, all that kind of stuff. And like, there's a part of that I understand a little more because like, maybe you were like a smoke show when you were 25 and you're watching your looks fade and you kind of want to get that youth back. But I'm seeing some of these girls that are getting started at like, 25, 26 years old that look, they look great. They look young, they look youthful, and they start doing all of this stuff. And I wonder what the long-term repercussions of that is, not only physically, but like mentally.
Yeah.
You think about guys that get on steroids and stuff, and they say steroids aren't addictive in terms of like an actual addiction, like chemically. But I've never done anything like that, but I would envision it gets pretty addictive being jacked.
Yeah.
Like jacked.
Yeah.
And
just wanting to push it too.
right.
Just keep
right.
going.
Well, also then you have to, because if you're that jacked, you've already posted all over your social media. Now you can't get wimpy again. 'Cause
Right.
Yeah.
People make fun of you. So
Maybe I shouldn't do a hairpiece then, because then I can't go back.
no, you make a badass video of you shaving it back
Yeah.
off. Be like, I'm doing this for cancer research.
I went to one of those hair clinics because
You
I
got
was
it
so
checked out?
curious to see what they were all about, because they don't really tell you what the hell they're doing. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna come in and you're gonna do all of this, and I'm trying to avoid saying any name of any clinic so I don't get myself in trouble. But like, they bring you in, and I'm like, so is this like a wig? Like, what are you guys doing? Is this like hair plugs? And I'll never forget the term that the doctor, by the way, it's a doctor, that, he goes, well, what we do is we come in and we measure your scalp and we manufacture a dermal lens, is what they called it.
Thermal.
And they said a dermal lens is like this lens that is like 1 millimeter. It's like super thin. It's like almost like the thickness of like your skin if you were to like have like skin flake off on your hand. And your natural hair can grow through this dermal lens, but then we'll attach the prosthetic hair to the dermal lens and we'll surgically glue it onto your scalp. And I'm like, that's a fucking wig.
So they glue the wig on.
Right. I'm like, that's a wig. Like, like we could call this like natural sugar with, like
Agave nectar.
deeply fermented agave, like blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a fucking margarita, dude. Like, you don't have to.
Technically, it's agave.
Right.
Agave syrup is made of sucralose and aspartame.
There you go. Yeah, read the back.
But going back to the photos, let's talk more about the side hustle. Let's make it a real hustle so we can, we want to do the real estate stuff. You're doing stuff for auto now. And what's kind of like what's the biggest hurdle for making it something that becomes full time?
I need more listings.
Yeah.
We
Probably
need more
be the
agents
biggest
with
one.
listings.
Yeah, more agents with listings. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna get real, let's say just get out of my own way, kind of thing. Like
Really?
that. Yeah.
Dude, unpack that, man. We talk about that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 2 years professionally, so it's a short amount of time, and I think the imposter syndrome comes on a little bit, and especially living in this big city, there's so many artists out there that are just killing it,
Right.
and so it's like, what more can I bring to the game is kind of what I think, and so really it's just get out there and play.
Yeah.
So
So you want to do this more as like marketing, or you want to do this more as art? Like, what's the
a little bit of both, and hang
I
out.
mean, I mean, magic wand though.
Magic wand.
Yeah. What are we doing?
It'd be art Or like
Art.
where it would take it? Yeah, it would be art.
I mean, do you
know,
really want to
since-
take pictures of fucking houses?
No,
Let's
man.
keep it real, right?
No,
I don't wanna walk
maybe a
inside
couple
houses.
big
Right.
ones, but
Like that'll pay the bills, but at the end of the day, we want to do artwork. So like, what kind of art are we talking here? Are you taking photos of like, I don't know, man. What are we talking here?
well, like I brought up earlier,
Penises? Yeah, I mean, some would call that art,
changing the game there,
right?
Yeah, helping somebody out live out their dream. But like I said earlier, was being so interested in film at a young age and
Taking
carrying
the word
that.
headshot to a new level.
Right?
So it would be something with film. I think a cool thing. A lot of photographers on set. Some of those photos that they're taking behind the scenes get used for the posters that they put in the theaters and whatnot. So
Okay.
it'd be cool to have some of my work put up in a movie theater.
Does that mean we got to get you out to Cali?
I was between that and here. And I
Okay.
ended up choosing Austin. So.
I heard a rumor, and again, this is from somebody that I barely know, and
That's got to be correct.
that's why I said it's a rumor, and you may or may not to be able to validate this, but I heard a rumor that I don't know if it was Buda or Kyle, but they are talking about building like a film studio out there.
San Marcos.
Is it?
Yeah.
You heard this?
Oh yeah, I've been big on this on my IG.
Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, so this will be a good clip. I've been thinking, what are going to be the clips that Opus AI pulls out of this?
Right.
And after all the dick pic and hair transplant, at least we can have something real
I
estate.
don't know. Dick pic and hair transplant might turn out to be the best clips. You don't know,
Probably Opus will tell us.
right?
Yeah. So, this is going to be and I'm going to get a lot of these numbers wrong. This is something around 1 million square foot film studio, and they're trying to move a lot of the production from California over here. It's going to be
Fucking
in
A,
San
right?
Marcos. There's a lot of
Chose
space
right.
there. They're going to have 1,400 contractor positions there each month. And from what I know from my friends that work in the real estate in the film industry, is that most of the time they're working on a movie anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 months. So it's never even a whole year. So my idea was, why are we not investing in Airbnbs, to use as 30-day rentals, movie theme them, have projector screens, have, I don't know, sound rooms and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You could
You're
have some
definitely
locals.
with the right
And
guy
then
as
just-
far as
Yeah.
thinking big, man.
That's
Gra-
what I'm saying.
Grab a couple, you could have different like producers and camera people and stuff all staying in the same 5-bedroom Airbnb.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
could have some really cool shit there.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of great ideas. He's
Well,
been very
San-
helpful. So.
San Marcos isn't the most expensive place to buy, so I mean,
No, you could. You could buy a fixer-upper there for $200,000 if you want to.
Really?
did you say you've been down here for 2 years?
4.
4.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in the photography industry for 2.
I've been down here for
Professional.
4 years too. We probably got here at the same time.
Yeah,
Fle-
cheers to
fled the
that.
Midwest.
Yeah, which flight?
Yeah.
Right.
Drove.
I usually connect out of O'Hare, so it might have been the same flight.
I'm sure you could probably sit on flights from SFO to AUS every day and ask anyone, "Hey, are you moving to Austin?" There's probably one person in that flight.
You watch that stuff more than I do. I mean, are we still seeing like this mass exodus from other places to Austin, or has that slowed down at all?
It's slowed down tremendously.
Where's
I mean-
everybody moving now? Do you know, or is it just in general moving places has slowed down?
Oh, in general, moving has slowed down. I mean, we're still seeing a lot of people move to Austin and still coming from the same locations. We're still seeing the Bay Area, California, Los Angeles, San Diego, Chicago, Boston, New York, also all over Florida. Which Florida is one of those places that we've been trading people from.
I feel the
Texas to
same.
Florida.
It's so interesting you say that because I feel like we're trading with Florida all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with the Carolinas. We're trading with them a lot. Which
okay.
I'm gonna move
Well,
there.
a lot of
It's so
Illinois
pretty.
people too. I'm gonna be honest. I ran into quite a few. Just like, oh, you from there? Throw out a couple small towns or something. Because I am from a small town, but yeah, that.
Yeah, all the mass
surprises
exodus
me.
is actually coming from the Midwest. Who am I
Yeah.
kidding?
Yeah.
Anyone who can afford to get out of Cleveland,
Right.
it's like this day.
I mean, Cleveland's a great city, man, and I love the people there, and it's interesting because like everybody who meets people from Cleveland, they're always like, oh man, I love people from Cleveland, and if you know the area, there's a lot to do, and the one thing that I feel like people don't know is like they got a really, really good food scene. Like the food is really good there. There's a lot of like big names in terms of like chefs and stuff like that. But the fucking weather sucks. It sucks so bad. And like, I read a statistic that out of all major cities in the U.S., we're the number 2 city with the least amount of sunlight, with an average
Oh my
of
God.
133 days. I
Interesting.
mean, even Chicago has more sunlight. Number one is
Is it
Seattle.
Portland or Seattle?
Seattle. And then here in Austin, we average like 270. It's like literally double. And so I moved down here basically for work, right? Like I did not move here with the intention to like come to Austin. And it only took about like 30 days. And I remember I told my girl, I was like, I'm different. And she's like, what? I'm like, I feel so different. She's like, why? I'm like, there's a fucking sun down here. Like, and when we moved down here, it was like January.
Yeah.
So it was cold, but the sun's still out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody watching this, and this is your first time seeing Matt on camera, he's never taken off those aviators.
No, I never take
He
them off.
walked into my last closing like that.
Tons of sun. Just leave these on.
Yeah. His future's so bright, he's got to wear shades.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, I got away from. I thought I was getting away from the winter, and then Austin here started getting that. Those
Points of
crazy
Austin.
winters. I think I got the ice out the
Yeah.
first year that I was here.
Wasn't it funny watching people act all like,
Oh my God, it was.
it's hilarious. I mean, you had to feel the same way. I was going to work every day, and people were like, you can't leave. Like, what do you mean I can't leave? They're like, there's literally an eighth of an inch of snow on the ground.
I know.
You don't understand. I'm like,
Gas stations closed. Everybody's running out of stuff.
that was the one thing that pissed me off, that made me feel like, here I feel like Texas, we're Texas tough, all this shit. And then they get an inch of snow, and I get it. All right, maybe you don't want to drive around or anything like that. But, like, I couldn't even grocery shop
Yeah.
for, like, 3 days.
It was insane.
And I'm thinking, like, now this is ridiculous. Like, you guys could have the grocery store open, like.
there were a couple gas stations down the street from me. It's like the front doors broken in, all that kind of stuff. It's like,
Like
everybody's
every
going
man for
crazy.
himself.
Yeah.
Over 35 degrees and a quarter inch of snow.
Yeah.
It's like, I had my shotgun out. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going to happen,
I remember during that ice storm, I'm going to put a friend on blast here. My friend Mike, who lived, his apartment was maybe like 2 miles away from mine. He called me. He's like, man, do you have electricity? And I was like, no, I don't have electricity. He's like, do you have water? And I was like, yeah, I got water. And he's like, all right, my girlfriend and I and her pit bull are coming over to your 1-bedroom apartment. I was like, oh, great.
Dude, we took in 2
Fantastic.
couples.
So
Really?
Yeah.
So then, after they were there a day, they're like, "All right, we're tired of hearing Chase play guitar, and we've played Monopoly Deal one too many times." So
So you were able to scare them off,
So-
basically?
so
Is that what
they,
you're saying?
They traded. I tried. They took me with them. They traded from no electricity but having running water to we moved to Lauren's apartment, his girlfriend's apartment, where she had a very nice couch that I slept on for 3 nights, which she had electricity but no running water. Thankfully, she had enough beer to last us for
There
a
you
couple
go.
days. But Mike and I tried walking to the gas station as if we didn't drive his car 20 miles from downtown to Canyon Creek.
Oh, wow.
But we tried walking to the gas station. He's like, we need to get food for survival.
It's so weird.
Survival? It's 71 degrees in that apartment.
Well, and it's going to be 71 degrees in 48 hours. And I don't know what your buddy looks like, but I think I look at myself and I'm like, I can afford to skip a meal or two. You know what I mean?
It was fun staying with them. The worst part was Mike was like, "Look, guys, if we're gonna be in this apartment, we're not getting any exercise. I need to put us all in a workout plan." While we're so he brought his kettlebells.
Oh, my God.
We're doing push-ups and jumping jacks, and then immediately
just a
having like Coronas and queso after.
Well, and that's what's funny when people are like, we need food for survival. Like, I think, and then maybe I'm speaking for myself, but like, I have a pantry full of just like shit, right?
Yes.
But it's like food, like rice and maybe some like cans of beans or something like that. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to eat like white rice for 3 days in a row, but like, if it's really for survival, like,
Yeah.
I have enough food to survive until it's 70 plus degrees in 48 hours,
Yeah.
you know, like.
Oh, I could easily just with the stuff that I just happen to pick up at HEB every time I'm getting the groceries I actually want. I mean, all of that rice and beans and tuna and everything frozen, all of my fish sticks and popcorn, chicken. And I mean,
Yeah.
I could live off that stuff at least for the rest of the year.
If
I mean, not the rest
honestly,
of next
if you were
year.
to, if you were to ration it and do it right.
I don't even think I have to ration. I mean, I got Probably 48 cups of ramen that my previous roommate left.
He does, yeah.
So,
Somebody loved ramen.
I've been tapping into that.
yes, that sodium alone. If they mummified me, I'd be fine.
Right? Yeah, your only obstacle here in Austin is water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, I've got like 12 packs of Topo Chico to last me for the rest of the year. So
I got a stocked bar. I'll be fine.
who needs water?
Yeah.
Water's for whips.
Exactly.
Got the booze.
I got cold brew. I got oat milk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Red
fine.
Bull. Don't forget your Red Bull.
There you go. So we'd make it. But going back to the whole reason we made fun of all of the people down here that weren't from the Midwest when we had a quarter inch of snow. So we've got a film studio going up in San Marcos. We've got an artist here who wants to do all the film stuff. He's getting in his own way. I mean, what's stopping you from just going for it?
Well, nothing now. You know, living with Chase has been really helpful. He's just
Yeah, how'd you
motivated
guys
me.
meet?
Bumble BFF.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah,
go.
people still use that.
Yeah.
Bumble BFF. I'm staring. That's Bumble for like finding
yeah,
best
Bumble
friends.
friends.
for friends.
Finding the best friend.
It's a
right?
great, and this is just for anyone who's watching this and thinking about moving to Austin. It's a great way to meet friends. Yeah.
It is.
I meet
living
people
with
at
them
the
now.
bar, but you know,
There
I
you go.
get it. I get it. I'm a little older than
Did they
you two.
remember you the next day?
Some of them don't,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you're
thing.
right.
Considering the things you said to those women when you were in there.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing they don't.
Yeah, that story was like my buddy. Works sometimes.
You take off the sunglasses.
Yeah.
So, going for it, going for the dream, going for
Yeah.
the artwork, going for the. I mean, when's this all going down?
Well, we're filming videos of me doing real
Regularly.
estate things.
Not your dream. When's the whole thing in San Marcos? I mean, you said it's
Oh.
happening. Like, when's that going
Yeah, I
down?
think it's next year. So I think they can start construction on that sometime
Like,
early next
you
year.
gotta
Who-
wait for the strike.
like,
Who
who's
owns
buying
it?
this?
I
Yeah,
don't
like,
know. Yeah.
is this
I'd
like
have
raw
to-
land they're bulldozing and putting up stuff? And
Yeah, raw land that they're
Okay.
building huge, massive warehouse, airplane hangar size studios on.
That's
so
crazy,
I'm not
man.
sure who the developer is. It's not Chasing Realty Group or my LLC, The Real House Dives.
Is it really?
That's the LLC I co-own with my mom.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So what else, gentlemen? I mean, we could talk about,
Let's see.
dick
well-
fart jokes and stuff, but, we
we
try to
wanna go
keep it
there.
a little more business and real
Yeah,
estate
we
yeah.
touched
related.
on Dick.
Well, so the reason we're
for
doing
that.
this podcast is so I can get the clips for my Instagram. So certain things in here, I'm hoping Opus is also for anyone listening. Opus is an AI that watches your entire hour-long video, and then they pull out the best clips based on, most
Keywords.
likely to go viral, which is a lie.
Yeah,
And-
just because of keywords.
And yeah, so I'm hoping they're not just pulling out the crude stuff, but yeah. So I feel like
Opus knows.
we'll try to touch on a little real estate.
Yeah, please.
Let's see. What stuff's been grinding your gears lately? You done a lot of refis?
No, absolutely not. I'll tell you what's been grinding my gears, and here's a good PSA, is like, so you have a lot, and this will actually resonate with you. You've got a lot of people who now that property values are kind of coming down a little bit, and then they've got the opportunity to negotiate. We're seeing a lot of people that want to become investors. And so I like to use investors as air quotes because, I think there's multiple types of investors. And I'll just say broad stroke, the majority of people who claim to be investors aren't really investors. They're
just broad strokers.
they're people that are like, circle jerking about buying their second house. And,
Hey, don't talk about me like that.
well, you're actually doing it, right? There's a lot of guys out there that just like talk about it, and then they, every other word is like passive income,
Subject
passive
to
income, right? Anyway, so
Pace Morby.
with interest rates on the rise and everything along those lines, it's pretty obvious that investors are fairly confident that rates are going to come down. So no one wants to get like stuck with the bag where like you are going to do a loan for somebody and go through all the work and then charge them a rate, and then they're not even going to make any money on the interest because that investor is going to turn around and either refinance or sell quickly. It's kind of like a waste of their time. So Fannie and Freddie, which is like where you're going to get your best rates out, because otherwise you're going to have to go to like a hard money lender, and it's going to be tougher terms and it's going to be higher rates. So everybody wants, Fannie, Freddie rates on their investment properties. And so, Fannie and Freddie know what I just described, and therefore they're trying to make their money up front. They're charging an exorbitant amount of like what we call points to get these deals done. And the only way that it is like really even makes sense or is lucrative in the short term is, without going through all of the details in terms of the way the pricing works and what we call like lower level price adjustments, you got to be putting down like 30%. And I would also encourage you to, go for your max concessions, which on an investment property is 2%, because, we have programs that are eligible to only put down 15%. But to go to the grind my gears thing is like, you're talking about interest rates that are at like almost in the 8% range, costing like 3-4% of the loan amount. And everybody is very upset about that when they find that out. And it's funny to me, like, and this is something we talk about in our business all the time. Like when one thing goes away, another thing becomes available. There's no such thing as like, oh, now rates are down, so are property values. Like rates go down, property values go up. So now here you've got these people who are like, maybe now's the time for me to get into an investment property, and they call me, and I'm like, yeah, your rate's 8 1/8, and it's going to cost 4% of $400,000, so 16 grand in closing costs, and you're getting an 8%, and they're like, fuck that, right? And so it's like, you don't get it, like. There's no money in this for like Fannie and Freddie if you end up refinancing or doing all these things. So they want their profit now. And then of course when you're like, well, go talk to a hard money lender, people are like, well, now it's not even going to like rent roll. So you have a lot of people that, and I see this isn't just investors. It's just, this is what's grinding my gears right now, is there's always an excuse to not do something. And it's like, man, I missed it. And it's like, no, dude. Cause like if you hold a property, maybe you're like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to take that 8%. I'm going to pay that 16 grand. I'm going to hold that property for 5 years. That guy will probably beat his chest and be like, look at me. Like I did a great job, but he, complained tooth and nail in the very beginning, but at least he did something. And that's kind of my point to you. You're like, oh, you're teasing me. Like, no, I'm not teasing you. Like you take action. There's a ton of people that talk a huge game about what they're going to do and this and that, but there's always that, well, the fucking rates right now, like there's always, and then when the rates come down and lower level price adjustments go away and things become a little sexier to maybe buy an investment property, well, property values are going to be too high. And so there's always a party in my business, depending on the time, that is just full of shit and wasting my time. And right now it is investors. And again, not real investors. You know who you are, investors.
I tell you what has been getting me a lot of leads on my listings recently. I changed on MLS on all of them. I put acceptable financing includes owner may carry. Which means seller financing.
Yeah.
So now I have all these agents reaching out to me and they're saying, what are your terms for seller financing? And so right now, I probably need to find a better way to phrase this. Right now I've been saying, well, you come at me with an offer and we'll discuss it. Like,
Sure.
I haven't really brought this up to my seller yet. But what I should be saying is go see the property and tell me if your client likes it. At least we'll get some more showings out of it.
Well, and what the answer to that question, if you ask that question, is like they see seller financing and all they're really, and this just fucking grinds, but this grinds my gears because like it's exactly what I'm saying. People who are offering seller financing, you know what they're fucking offering it at? They're offering it at an inflated purchase price. Mm-hmm. They want the purchase price that they would have gotten 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They want it now, and they'll seller finance it, and they'll give you a lower interest rate than what's available today. But then that exact person, that jerk off that I was just talking about, he's going to be like, well, I want this price with that rate. And it's like, yeah, well, I want to drive a fucking BMW for the cost of a Kia.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this isn't how any of this works.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, seller financing is fantastic, but it's like you're going to pay up front now in the purchase price because I want 2020 value on my property. And sure, it's paid off, it's free and clear. I'll give you a 6%, which isn't available today.
Mm. Yeah, I have a client who, I'm not going to put his name on blast because he would not want me saying this. But he's getting into the seller financing thing, and he's like, well, if I can get a property where either I can get a loan subject to at a low interest rate, or I can purchase the property in cash and own it outright, then I'm going to resell it, seller financing, to someone at a 20% down payment, and then at probably 6-7% interest rate. On one side of it, to the person he's selling it to, there's someone who wouldn't qualify for a mortgage otherwise. most common your buyer is going to be someone who's an illegal immigrant.
Right, which is risky.
Which is great for them. Like, this allows your undocumented immigrants to now own a house. Because to own a house, you don't have to be a citizen. To get a mortgage, you do, though. Or you
Right.
have to, have documentation, if
Yeah.
visa or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
No, you don't have to have a visa, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, you have to have some
can't
type
be
of
an illegal immigrant.
you have some type of proof that you live here. Yeah. So it's great to give these people who are probably working, well, they have to. They got to qualify somehow. An opportunity to purchase a home. But these people's jobs are not really that stable. They're living, even if they own the house, their living situation's not that stable. They're probably packing quite a number of people into a small home. So they've been saving up to be able to buy a house in cash so that they could own a house because it's their only option. Because they can't get accepted into a rental because they don't have a social security number. They can't purchase a home with loans. Their only option is cash or seller financing. So the other thing is,
Boy, I hope they're my neighbors.
so the other thing, so he'll ask for 20% upfront as a down payment. They now own the house. Now they're paying him in installments. Do you know what the failure rate of seller financing buyers is, like the foreclosure rate?
Well, I mean, I know foreclosure just in traditional financing is something like 35%. So I'm going to double that
seller
and say
financing, it's
70.
85%.
Yeah.
So an 85 out of 100 chance they're going to default. He takes the house back. He probably has to do a little work on it to make it look pretty again. And then sells it again for another 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Those poor people are back on the street. But it's a way to do business.
Well, now let me just stop you right there because I know for a fact that Texas has one of the most difficult foreclosure, processes in the country. And frankly, I don't know how that works for an illegal immigrant, but I would envision, especially, Austin being somewhat crunchy granola, would not be very keen on something like that happening and foreclosing on a family like that to put 20% down.
I think it's more like a threat. It's like, you haven't paid me in 3 months. Either we start this foreclosure process and you ruin your credit forever.
They don't have credit.
That's fair.
I mean, they don't have credit. So,
That's true.
I'm just walking myself through this. Like, I'm putting myself in your friend's shoes. Like, I can kind of see, all right, let's just be it's just business. And,
I'm getting him on this podcast.
I'm gonna put a family out on the street after they just gave me like $80K. They give me $80,000. They sell all of their shit to move from a third world country, and then they go ahead and put it as a down payment. They can't get jobs because they're illegal, and then I just fucking snake them out of their $80K and kick them out of the house. I mean, that's literally what you just said. So anyway, let's just play the "it's just business" card. I don't think, and I could be wrong, and maybe we can get like a real estate attorney. I don't think that foreclosure process is going to be lickety split like that.
Yeah.
And if people that have nothing to lose other than the $80,000 worth of equity that they just put up, I don't think they're going to leave real easy.
I'm bringing in my attorney on this next one, so I'm interested.
That one's making
Travis,
the Opus
you've been
clips.
summoned.
Yeah,
I'm bringing you-
that one's going to make the clips. I'm telling you, I'm excited about this because I can totally see how people are going to be like, that was your best podcast yet, because it's informational, cringy, and funny at the same time.
Terribly cringy.
Yeah.
No, people are going to love this one. Let's see.
You guys are getting into it.
Well, that was my one take. I had another take. Also, so this might just be good information. So if your option was hard money lender, your best bet, if you have money saved in your investment account, stock brokerage, retirement account, your best bet might be borrowing against it.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I have my investment account with Morgan Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned I co-own that flip house with my mother.
Yeah.
She also has her investments in Morgan Stanley. We're able to basically combine, call it a family account, and then we're able to take a line of credit from that.
Yep.
0 origination fees, 5.4% interest. You can wait until the end when you sell the property to pay it back.
Yeah.
It compounds. But, I mean, that is cheap money. Because I'm talking
Well, you
other-
have money to borrow against.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. You have to have it to use it.
So as the lender in the room, I'm here to tell you that
Most people don't.
They don't have the money to borrow against that. If they did, then
fortune.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and trust me, that's a good thing to have, and I do see a lot of people take advantage of it because it's especially right now in the interest rate environment, it's definitely a great opportunity. But yeah, most people that I talk to, again, the air quotes, the investors that aren't investors, they barely even have their down payment money, let alone an interest-bearing account that they can borrow against at, a way lower rate than what we would offer them, in traditional financing.
Yeah, but I had a house flipper developer that I was meeting with a couple weeks ago, just looking at his project, and he mentioned that he made a lot of his money in the Bitcoin rush a couple years ago. He was able to retire at a very young age, and I told him about this line of credit from my stockbroker, and he's like, "What the hell?" He's like, "Why did I just borrow money at 12% with a 2% origination fee?" I was like, "I don't know. Why didn't you ask?"
Yeah.
Where does your guys', because a lot of this, I'm not going to lie, is going a little bit over my head. He
That's all
calls me
good,
up,
man.
he
You're going to
says-
learn something.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, take a
Looking both
photograph.
ways. But
So when
Chase
you get
hits
rich
me
and
up, he
famous,
just,
we
"Come
can
shoot
sell
this
you a
house."
home.
Yeah, there we go.
The amount that he's learned from just recording me doing my videos.
Yeah.
My team said the same thing. Seriously.
Yeah, it's insider info. It's great.
What
Where
do
do
you
you guys
got?
meet, though? That's where I'm a little lost.
At
And maybe
Cabo
that's-
Bob's.
Oh, I just mean like your guys' as a realtor, as a lender, where's that meeting at? And maybe that's just common knowledge. Maybe I feel
No,
really dumb
this
asking
will
that, but
this
just
will
like,
end up being a great clip. So when I have a buyer, most home buyers will call a realtor before they'll call a lender. It's a backwards process, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But I think they should call a lender first, save me the time. But I'll do a home buying consultation with them, explain the roadmap of what it takes to buy a house. And I'll say, all right, our best next step is you getting I had this last night. You're about to receive the clients next week. They're just getting their ducks in a row.
Amen.
there we go.
And I'll say, this is, our roadmap going forward. So first, I think it'd be best if you had a lender pre-approve you. That way, you'll know what your budget is. And that way, I can show you,
Okay.
I can send you emails with a list of homes that are in your budget. And then immediately after you get pre-approved, what I'd really love to do is take you to 5 houses. And I just want to ask you questions. I'm not asking you to buy any of these houses. I just want to see what you think of this and this and this and this and this. I'm just going to ask you questions through the whole thing. And then we're going to be super aligned on what you're looking for, so we're not wasting both of our time.
Yeah.
So, lender gets the new client when I introduce Matt, right after that consultation. And then once we're under contract, then he's writing them the loan. Lender's paid a commission at closing, just like realtors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Easy
and then, outside of what Chase is making mention of, one of the things
I make
that-
it seem like your job is so minuscule.
Right. I mean, one of the things that we do, in addition to just doing the financing and making sure that he's not wasting his time, is, I try to get really involved in making sure that when they're writing. So, like, if you make an offer on a property, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have kind of Chase go to bat for you and be like, hey, here's what he's doing. He's doing this financing. Here's his approval letter. And of course, Chase is, no matter whether it's true or not, he's going to be like, and the financing's good to go, right?
Okay.
Because the buyer is going to be like, my financing is good to go. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, writes an offer on a property and goes, I hope this fucking goes through. Nobody
I've had
says
a couple.
right? Nobody says that, because if you did, then they would never accept your offer.
Gotcha.
So as the lender, and this is something I don't see enough lenders do, is, I will reach out to the listing agent. I do a really good job of, trying to stay local in the community and knowing a ton of these listing agents. I feel like it's part of my job, is literally like networking with agents, only so that if and when I'm writing an offer, and if Chase is on the listing side, I'm like, hey, Chase, he knows my name. He knows that, he knows the work that I do.
Yeah.
And when I say, hey, the financing's good to go, I have a reputation to, to hold down, and can basically help get, because everybody's going to find a home, they're going to love it. And unfortunately, there's going to be 2 or 3 other people that want that exact same house. And every single one of them is going to be like, we're good for it. But when I'm calling and I'm like, no, he really is good for it. And then from there, what I typically try to do is I'll ask some additional questions to the listing agent just to find out what the sellers might really want. Sometimes it's just a second voice. Sometimes
Yeah.
the agent can figure it out. But it's a strategy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the lending side of things, like, listen, I think I'm the best, but there's a lot of good lenders out there. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? The lending side of things is one piece of what I do. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that works. That's maybe my like additional value add, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'd be lying if I said, you know, there was no one out there that was doing as well as me as far as the loan itself. But yeah, you don't need a loan if you can't get your offer accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and I definitely remember the loan officers that would reach out to me when I was a listing agent, especially when we're talking the 2021 market. Because, you know, the agents would be burning down my phone all weekend, which was fantastic. I love sitting on the throne of offers.
Right.
That was a great time to be a listing agent. I'll tell anyone.
Fuck you, pay me.
I would tell anyone getting like a signed listing agreement them was like a local lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But yeah, or like a winning local lottery ticket, put it that way.
Well, it makes you feel better, right? On the listing side, you know, lenders calling.
Yeah, so I remember the lenders who would call me, and most wouldn't. It seems so simple for a lender to call an agent once.
Well, I think there's two reasons that they don't do it. I think the number one reason is because, you know, they don't think it's going to make a difference or whatever. And then number two, this is one thing that I think is really weird. You know, this is a blanketed statement, and I don't mean this to all real estate agents, but a lot of real estate agents are very controlling. And they're fearful that as a lender, because I tell every single agent, CC me when you write the offer, and then I'll just hunt down the listing agent and do my thing. Like, you don't have to even go through the stress or whatever extra steps to tell me who the listing agent is and give me their phone number, which that would make
on the contract.
Yeah, I mean, that would make my, you know, but it's just like, just send over the offer and CC me on it, and agents won't do it.
Really?
And I've asked, like, hey, well, and they act like they forgot. And I've only had one or two admit to me after we started working together. They were like, you know, I just get nervous. I don't know what you're going to say. I don't want you to fuck it up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like, first and foremost, like, if you haven't met me, I'm a salesman through and through.
Yeah.
You know, I know right now I'm wearing like a shirt with parrots on it and sunglasses.
You look like you're going to sell me drugs.
Yeah, right? But I'm in real life, I'm pretty damn professional. It's like, what are you worried about? So I think that has a lot to do with it. You know, that trust factor just isn't there. And but I'm telling you, I've talked to a million agents and I've even had real estate agents call me and say, we accepted the offer because you reached out. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, a listing agent's biggest fear is basically telling a seller, like, hey, I think this is our best offer, and that deal blowing up. Because now, you know, if a seller can blame anything on anyone other than like accepting their own responsibility, they're going to do it. And if that deal blows up when the listing agent was like, I think this is our best offer, that's like the worst place to be as a listing agent. Like, well, we have a mutual release or the financing didn't go through. Like, what the actual fuck, Chase? You know?
Yeah. And for the seller that I'm working with, I'm the only person they can go to complain.
That's true.
They don't know who the buyer is. They don't know who the buyer's agent. They don't know who the lender was. But they can complain to me. Yeah, so, I mean, it definitely makes a difference. I mean, there actually was a property that we had multiple offers, and loan officer kind of shot the buyer in the foot, though, because he said, yeah, my buyer really wants this property. She's been losing out on several others. With her pre-approval, like, she could afford a little more than the offer price. So, you know, if that makes a difference, she can definitely go up. And I was like, well, it's already our best offer. I mean, you know, she wants to feel like she really earned it. So we countered to $5,000 more, and she's like, yes, I'll still take it.
There you go. There you are.
I mean, in the end, the loan officer got their deal.
So I've got a story that I was going to do. I'm going to take my glasses off for this
here
one.
we go.
I'm gonna.
Ugh.
Oh my God!
You're so old.
Oh my God!
The Austin sun is killing you.
So last night, let me start by this. So when I was, Chase knows this, but I'll make it quick. When I was 15,
I know what you did last night.
When I was 15 years old, I started as an after-school job as a telemarketer for a mortgage company.
Oh, right on.
And so I've really only worked in the mortgage industry my entire life, right?
Wow.
So when I basically became an LO right about when I turned like 18 years old. And I started working for this company eventually where when I was 18, I wasn't taking it very seriously. It was kind of like, you know, I was going into work. I was working a full-time job and everything, but like
Yeah.
I was still learning and apprenticing like actual loan officers. And I really didn't start doing loans until I got to be about 21, 22 years old. And I used to work at this company, and there were all these super young dudes that worked there. And this is like 2006, right?
Oh, we just
Yeah.
watched a Big Short last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is before
Jared fell
08, right?
asleep.
So
Okay.
this is in like 2006. So I'm working at this mortgage company with all these young guys, and this is when like we were suiting up and we're wearing like colorful shirts with, you know, suits and stuff. Not this colorful,
Okay.
but like, you know, the purples, the pastel blues,
Yeah.
like the pinks, you know, stuff like that. And dudes are making really, really good money, and we're spending every single penny that we're making. And I would say the average age of this office was like 25.
Oh, wow.
And we're like slamming Red Bulls and calling on the phone and
Yeah.
everything like that. So it was more like a call center atmosphere, but we didn't work in a call center. Everybody had their own office and everything like that.
Yeah.
And we would dial out, and we were in multiple states. So here we are in Ohio, but like we would call all the way out to California. So sometimes we'd stay till like 9, 10 o'clock at night and dial out. So last night, I found out on Facebook that one of the guys that I used to work with, who I absolutely loved, who was like a little bit older than us, he was probably almost in his 30s, which he's like the older guy for the younger
Yeah.
guys. His name was Rob Todd, and he passed away last night.
Oh, God.
I know. And so I'm seeing all of these posts about him and everything like that. And Rob Todd was like the nicest guy, and he was fucking good looking. It was like good looking dude, salesman, little bit older than us, and was just the guy that would like, if you had any kind of questions about anything, any advice about loans or products or anything, he was there to help. So this place was a little bit of a circus, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, we're staying late. Everybody's like, it's like Wolf of Wall Street type
Okay,
shit.
that's what I was
Send
gonna
it
say.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like people, yeah, no, we barely had cell phones at this point. So, you know, what we would do is like all these guys are driving cars that, you know, we're spending all of our money. And the thing that was big in this office was guys were getting fish tanks, like saltwater fish tanks. I remember one guy had like all these saltwater, you know, just coral, no fish.
Oh, wow.
Another dude had a tank that was freshwater with all these like cichlids that are like super colorful and everything like that. Well, one guy had a giant fish tank. It was probably about 12 feet by like 4 feet, and he had an alligator in it.
What?
I swear to God. And this alligator was named Bob, which is ironic because I'm talking about my friend who passed away, Rob Todd. And this is totally going out there. And those
Rob
of you that
Todd.
know this story. So we got Rob Todd and we got Bob the alligator. And I wanted to tell this story because I literally had a dream that I was going to do this today, because I have told this story more times than any other story. And I do it because it's such a great story. And thank you, Rob Todd, for giving me this story. So here we are dialing late at night. And the guy who owned the alligator was real protective of the alligator because we always wanted to go buy rats to feed it.
Yeah.
But you can overfeed an alligator. Like they'll eat whatever the hell you put in their thing or in their tank. So
This
like
is in the office?
this is in the office.
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. So we would only feed Bob once a week, right? And everybody was always willing to buy the rat to feed Bob, and then we'd all come in and like watch Bob eat the rat. And, you know, we'd sit there, and the rat would kind of run around. He'd sniff it, and he'd eat the rat, and everyone's like, "Oh, fuck yeah!" You know. And it was crazy, but we would only feed him once a week, so there was only one day of excitement, right? Well, Rob Todd was such a wild man that when it would get late at night, the way that this office was set up is that it was a big round, and there were office doors on each side. So it would be late at night. You'd be on the phone like selling a deal, and there would be nights that all of a sudden you would hear doors just boom, 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 boom. All the doors would close, and Rob Todd, this crazy motherfucker, would take Bob out of his tank,
Oh, my God.
put him in the round, and there would be an alligator just running around the office, right?
Keep you guys
So-
on your toes. Man.
So like you would open the door and you'd like peek your head out, and there would be an alligator just running
Really?
through the hallways, right? Now, nobody But Rob Todd was crazy enough to mess with this alligator. So when the alligator came out, it was Rob. And that meant when the alligator had to go in, it was like nobody else is fucking with this alligator but crazy Rob Todd. So after about, 10 or 15 minutes, Bob's already like run around the ring and everything like that. And he's kind of calmed down a little bit. Rob would go over, put him back in the tank, and we would tell these crazy fucking stories. Well, one day, boom, 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 you're hearing all the doors close and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, fuck, Bob's out, You peek your head out, you see Bob and everything. So same thing, same story. Rob goes to pick up Bob to put him back in his tank. I don't know what happened this day, but Bob the alligator turned his head and just crunched right onto Rob Todd's hand. And so this is how cool Rob Todd was. So now he's got this alligator who literally has his entire hand in his mouth. And Rob Todd is cool as fuck. And he's like, holy shit, right? I think anyone would freak out and start like punching this alligator or like smashing it on the ground, but not Rob Todd, because he knew that we weren't supposed to be fucking with Bob, the alligator, right? So what do you do in an office setting now? We got like 6 guys, and we've got Rob Todd with an alligator in a corporate office clamped onto his hand. So we're grabbing pens and rulers, and we're trying to pry this alligator off of Rob Todd's hand.
That's insane.
It is insane. It is insane. It's one of the best stories I have, thanks to one of the best dudes out there. We did get Bob off of Rob Todd's hand, and he did have to go to the hospital and get quite a few stitches.
I bet.
But he didn't lose his hand. He didn't really lose any mobility. It was like the best story ever. So I want to raise my glass to the wild man. Rob Todd, I love you, brother.
Bob Todd, the crocodile lender.
Good dude, man.
That is
Crocodile
amazing.
lender, baby.
Thanks for letting me tell that story. I'm going to post that here in the next day or two. There's going to be so many fucking people that love it. He was a great guy, man.
Yeah.
That's insane. Gosh, so
Didn't see that coming.
No.
Top that.
I can't. My last office, we had a corgi.
Gotcha.
My current office, aka my house, I've been trying to trap a feral cat.
Oh, yeah.
So I already named him Lasagna.
How feral are we talking?
Certified homeless,
Okay.
but
Still got both of its eyes?
both of its eyes, both of its
nuts,
balls.
too.
Okay.
My
Used to shoot those.
oh,
No,
the balls?
No,
Oh,
not the
yeah.
balls, the cats. So I
Oh.
used to have
Oh,
this
man.
farm that I used to work on and mow the lawn, and they had some feral cats. And when you say feral cats, I'm talking like these fuckers would fight. They're mean, man. When they're like feral, and there'd be ones with missing eyes, and like they jack each other up. And if they got too jacked up, we'd just shoot them.
Oh.
Come on. You're not going to take in a one-eyed cat
No.
with like it's got like flies coming out of its butthole and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I have flies coming out of my
depends on what you eat, right?
Palace Buffet on Westgate. Yeah, so this cat's been coming around my yard it's my alarm system says it's been coming around my driveway for the last year, so it's been coming in my yard for the last couple nights.
Lasagna, you said, right?
Yeah, lasagna. That's its running name right now. And my next door neighbor, shout out Cindy, you'll probably see this podcast. She's trying to get the Austin Feral Cat organization to come pick it up, basically neuter it, and then put it back in my yard, which honestly seems like money well saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm about it.
Dude, if that thing gets, like I said about that farm, man, cats reproduce quickly and they can become a problem.
Yeah, so I've been feeding it every night and about the cheapest wet cat food, but
Just let it
I
ride. man.
kind of resonate with your friend with the fish tank with just a coral in it, because I got a cat bed. I'm about to have a little cat scratch and post. I'll probably just get a litter box too, but I don't have a cat.
Those coral fish tanks are tough to take care of, man.
Yeah.
You fuck up one thing on that pH and everything dies, and those coral are
You're
expensive.
brushing the algae with a
not
toothbrush every
Yeah.
morning.
Well, all of these ballers, they had one guy, I can't remember who it was, but they had one fish cleaning crew that would come in. They'd clean all the tanks.
Oh, wow.
It was like the biggest flex in like 2006 to have like a ballin' ass fish tank in your office.
Yeah.
Like a weird thing.
It is a little bit.
I never got into it, but at the same time, at this stage of my career, I wasn't one of the ballers, so it was like I wasn't gonna get a fish tank.
yeah.
Pretty
the-
sure I had a
You got a
goldfish
fish
around
bowl.
2000.
Did you get a fish bowl?
Yeah, yeah. Now, an alligator, that's a crazier story. You want to hear it? And so now that I got my Rob Todd thing, we won't, this one I won't post separately. So the sad story about Bob is that eventually he got really, really big. And according to the owner who I know, and if this does get out and I tell the story wrong, I apologize. But from what I was told was that he got so big that he ended up having to take him to a guy that claimed that he was like an alligator sanctuary.
Okay.
So he drops him off at this guy's house who says he like takes care of alligators, alligator sanctuary. And I bumped into him years later, and I was like, "Hey, man, you know, whatever happened to Bob?" And he goes, "Oh, he got so big, I took him to this alligator sanctuary." I was like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "It's actually kind of sad." He goes, "I found out in the news that this alligator sanctuary, like the neighbors started calling the cops because the house was starting to smell so bad. Turns out this guy was just putting these alligators in his basement and like throwing whole chickens, like, you know, dead ones, like butterball chickens in there.
Yeah.
The alligators were just like, you know, eating chicken and shitting all over the floor and everything. So the Animal Protective League came in and saw all of this and was like, this is fucked up. Called a bunch of zoos and like, nobody wants a fucking alligator. Like they, you know, it's not like some endangered species or something. So apparently like the Animal Protective League came in there and just shot them all.
Oh my God.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK at the end of that.
Made boots, I'm sure, or something. You know?
See, I guess I never consider reptile poop. Like, I forgot that alligators, you know, they eat a lot. They got to shit somewhere.
Well, you've seen
Well,
the
they're just
child.
swimming
You've seen
around.
the childhood book. Everybody poops.
Yeah. Yeah, my niece loves that book. Yeah, I recently on a United flight watched a movie, Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
Okay.
And I mean, this family had a crocodile in their New York City townhouse. So,
It had a scarf and everything, right?
or maybe it's Queens, Manhattan. It wasn't Manhattan.
That whole exotic animal thing, I
Brooklyn.
just do not understand. And like, you know, I'm not a big bleeding heart, but I've got to say, I intentionally don't go to zoos and stuff. I kind of not into it. I feel like, you know, captivating like large animals and stuff is just really strange and kind of cruel. And if you want to see them, like, go fucking see them. Like,
Yeah, out in the wild. see 'em in
right,
action.
right.
I've been to a couple sad aquariums. I'm not going to say where
Right.
they're at, but it's like, it's too small, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of fun, some of them to play with, but then you see some other animals, like I saw some penguins just hanging out in a corner. And they just got like a room about the size of this room, just hanging out. It's like, they shouldn't be in here, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. But then I think about my dog, and you know, it sits in the house for 8 hours
That's
a day.
different, though, man.
I might be willing to argue the zoo one, just because they're keeping these species as a whole alive.
Yeah.
Nobody's poaching them in the zoo. These animals are probably pretty happy about not having to fight for food every day.
Yeah, I mean,
It's if
they'll
they got
get
the
to travel
space, is
too
what I'm
far.
saying. You're right.
Yeah.
Zoos, they can be beneficial to the animals,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
So what do you
overall-
guys have
these
your
are
phone on you?
research centers. Of
Yeah.
course.
what time is it?
Tool time. 6:39.
Holy
We've been going
shit.
a whole hour and 40 minutes. We're gonna get some good clips out of this.
Yeah, no shit. I have to cut this.
just gotta cut it.
Yeah, I have a dinner and loan closing, which I don't have to be at the closing, but I have.
Who's closing at
the
7
dinner.
p.m.?
Well, it's a friend. So yeah, we're just doing it. It's funding on Monday. It's a whole
Oh,
thing
gotcha.
and everything
Nice.
like that. But this was way more fun than I thought it was going to be.
I'm excited to see if we get any clips that I can share.
I mean, dude, we've got an hour and 40 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sure we talked about real estate at some point.
Yeah.
I think there was some real estate conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Beginning, a little bit in the middle.
Well, I think we need to make this like a monthly thing.
No, that's the goal, is making it monthly thing. So next month we're coming back. We're gonna be in fall sweaters. I'm gonna have pumpkins up here.
Oh.
We're gonna have pumpkin spice margaritas.
Can I do like a hot toddy?
Yeah.
Is that a fall drink?
Yeah, let's do
absolutely.
Something with whiskey in it?
that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
All
for
right.
sure. And yeah, I guess we're gonna have to get my attorney on next time.
Yeah, there you go.
I would love that. However, I had an attorney on today, and it's funny. Like, Jimmy, you're the man. I love you, but it's funny watching these attorneys when they're careful with their words, and they're kind of like, well, and then in this case, it's just funny to me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like I feel like having an attorney on like this would just make an attorney's skin crawl.
Oh no, Travis would love this.
What kind of law does he practice?
Like title and encumbrances and
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for?
So it is like just real estate.
Entitlements.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
He-
entitled to. But
He
I
handles
mean,
like probate. And
this
stuff
guy
like that.
also drove like a Segway for the entire coast of Mexico last year.
Okay.
This guy's dope.
Right on.
Yeah, so I hope he'll join us next.
Yeah, and I
month.
do want to say thanks for having me on.
My
You know,
Yeah,
pleasure.
thanks for coming, Jared.
Give me a little
Yeah,
exposure.
being in the audio visual space, what do you think of this, man?
I think it's pretty great.
It's pretty
Yeah.
legit, right? I mean,
Nice
this
little setup.
isn't like your little backyard podcast.
Did you
No,
have
no.
you have an AV consultant come through?
Yeah.
I did.
there you go.
There is nothing we could do more other than if we wanted to like do more to the room itself, but I'm renting here, so
And like you say, you gotta get somebody behind there to run that laugh track for you.
I
all
know.
those
Well,
little
we've never
extra
really.
stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of sound effect. I mean, that board
bet.
is legit.
It really
dude.
is. Yeah.
I mean, that's
They're
a
really cool. I've seen
And you know what we need to do? Seriously, I mean, that's all set up for music too. We could lay stuff down.
You
All
ha- you
right, next
have
time
to.
I'm bringing
You
the
guys have to.
guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Quick
man.
story. First time I met this guy, he played me a full song at his crib, just jamming out. I was like, all right, here we go. This guy's pretty legit.
I mean, he's taking lessons from one of these guys that's
Shout-
super
Yeah.
legit. I mean,
Shout out
yeah,
John
he's right.
Dretto. Yeah.
There you go.
He's got it down.
I
for
play
sure.
too, but I'm already terrified after him telling me what he's doing and everything like that. But I'm the campfire acoustic guy, whatever.
No,
Keep
that's
it
fine.
there.
I was a drummer for years. That's how I started.
All right on.
And then I ended up having a compound fracture in my foot, like bones through the skin. And I couldn't walk for like 6 months.
During a gig.
No.
No,
And I was,
Ian's-
yeah. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm going to learn how to play guitar.
there you go.
And that's what I did. I just sat around and learned how to play guitar and just played like 4 hours a day every single day for like a year.
Well, I had an idea. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the agent on Instagram. His name's Matt Leonetti. Another shout out. He doesn't need the shout
Yeah,
out.
that name sounds
Um,
familiar.
But he does like real estate music videos. Like he'll dress up as like he looks like Freddie Mercury already, but he'll dress up as him and like yeah, and he'll do like Eminem and he'll like take their songs and kind of make it real estatey. And I had written a parody song. It was to the tunes of One Republic's Apologize, and it was too late to qualify. And there's a story about like rushing at an open house to get qualified
And
before
it's
the
too
offer was.
late to call it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the best line of it was like, "Hurry like the lender works on Sunday noon, but the offer's due. It's too late to qualify."
Oh man, we are totally cutting that clip. All right, gentlemen, gotta wrap
It's
it
been
up.
great.
This was awesome. We have to do this. I can't wait for Market on the Rocks fall edition.
Jared, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram at Jared_.
Don't look at us. Look at the camera.
Oh, there we go. Jared_Lipes 12.
Or you can find him in the master bedroom of my house.
There you go.
There it is, man. Is there a phone number to reach you?
Oh, we want the phone number too. Okay.
I mean, you're early enough in your career that I think
who's-
that's
We'll
okay.
do 309-714-2196.
Call him. Send your dick pics there.
Yes, your dick pics.
He'll photograph them.
All right. Love it.
God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Wow,
Wow,
guys.
good job.